Hi, I'm David Archuleta. I'm a singer, musician, and you're watching Behind the Brand with Brian Elliott.
You nailed it. That was great. Hey, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here with the incomparable David Archuleta. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I usually ask my guests, how did you get this job? How did you get here? Take me back. I want to hear the origin story.
How did I get here? I started with just liking to sing, I guess. And I guess that's how anything's born, is through an idea or a hobby, experimenting with something. And so I started when I was 6. My dad played this musical, Les Miserables, for me when we were moving into a new house to keep me busy. Oh, yeah. Well, and my siblings as well, but I was the one who was kept busy all day because I just kept rewinding it over. It was VHS, so I kept rewinding it over and over because I'd never seen, it was like a PBS special, 10th anniversary of Les Miserables, and I'd never seen people perform before. And so to watch them and see their expressions and just the way their body moved as they sang, it just totally took over me. And we had a rocking chair. I flipped it upside down, and I pretended it was like my cast seat, that I was a member of the cast, and I would get up when my part came, and I would sing, that happened for I don't know how many days in a row. And so my parents were pretty intrigued by that because they were musicians themselves. Okay. My dad was a jazz musician. He played trumpet, and my mom was a singer as well, and she also loves to dance. She's from Central America, Honduras, so she salsa dance. They're actually in a salsa band together. My dad would play trumpet, and my mom would sing and dance. And as time went on, I just kept singing in the backyard and in the basement. And my parents, I was super self-conscious. I didn't like people watching me. I didn't like singing in front of people very often.
Okay. A little camera shy then.
I'm still, it's fun. I feel like that's never gone away, but I've just learned how to deal with it. But they had me singing, and they'd invite me to come sing with them at a restaurant that they would sing at. And I was like, no. I don't want to. And my dad's like, if you go, you can pick anything you want off the menu.
So they were gigging, like they were doing little...
Yeah.
That's cool. Just for fun then?
Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't like being in front of people, but I want to pick whatever I want off the menu. So that was like a little special treat. So I would go and sing because I wanted that cheese quesadilla that I got to order off of the Garcia's restaurant menu. But then... I mean, this is, I guess, a bit of, I'm going to keep going, but then, funny enough, I got my start on American Idol, and what was kind of the next step for me was that first season of American Idol. I was 11 years old when that came out, and Kelly Clarkson was the winner of that season. And
American Idol, by the way, I have to make a confession, is one of my guilty pleasures. I love to spectate, watch that show. And I remember that. I remember that first season. It was a lot of fun. And I remember your season like super clearly too. So continue, because I'm intrigued by how the ramp up to this.
Yeah. I just, TiVo was a new thing. Mm-hmm. So I got to TiVo the episodes, and I would just watch those over and over. There was a singer, Tamara Gray. She was 4th place on that season, and she sang "And I'm Telling You I'm Not Going" from Dreamgirls, which I'd never heard of before until I saw her sing it. And she was just so into it. Just the way, she was just so passionate. And I was just like, yeah, this is amazing. And so I just kept rewinding it. And same with everyone else. All these songs I never heard of before, because my dad was so like, he was kind of snooty about pop music. He was like, jazz music is, it expresses itself the way no other music can. And my mom, she listened to like Latin music or Celine Dion and Whitney Houston, and that was about all I knew. And
so you're getting this exposure through American Idol and all these different singers. That's really cool.
Like Stevie Wonder songs and Aretha Franklin and all these things I just hadn't heard growing up in Utah. And I was just like, wow. So I started singing soulful music, and that's what my heart just gravitated towards, and my parents were just getting a total kick out of it because I don't think they were expecting
Yeah,
it.
there's this young kid who's singing this sort of old soul style music.
Yeah. So that was kind of odd, I guess, because I was so, I don't know, just, it wasn't your typical combination.
Yeah, but timeless though, right? That music's timeless. Classic, yeah.
It is. And I think it does hit you in a way, like just a certain way, it hits you in a part of your core. At least it did for me. And so one of my dad's employees, my dad owned his own business buying and selling stuff. And one of his employees' girlfriends heard me singing, and she was like, hey, there's this Jenny Jones. She watched the Jenny Jones show, this talk show. Yeah. She's like, they have this Latin, like they're looking for future Latino stars, like for an episode. And she's like, you should have your son go and audition for it. And so I don't know, I just was 11 years old, so I just did what my parents told me to. And so they filmed me and sent it into Jenny Jones. And they had me come. So they had me come to Chicago to be on the Jenny Jones show, Future Latino Stars. And on that same episode, American Idol was still going on. So as I was learning and just taking this new show in, I went onto the Jenny Jones show. Like it was a quick learning. I was learning really fast. Like on the Jenny Jones show, I sang this Tamara Grace song, and I'm telling you, I'm not going. And one of the people who was on American Idol was on that same show.
Okay.
His name was AJ Gill. He was in the top 10, and he was Hispanic. And we shared the same dressing room. And so I was like pretty nervous because I'm like, I've just been watching this guy on TV, and now I'm sharing a room with him. Yeah. And I was 11 years old. It was just kind of just not what I was expecting. Yeah. And he was like so into the fact that I was singing a song that I had watched one of his friends, Tamara, sing on the show they were just on. And so I became friends with him from that. And then a few weeks go by, and it's this finale of American Idol, and my dad, knowing that I was a huge fan of American Idol, surprised me with tickets to be at the finale.
Oh, that's cool.
So
this is season 1.
This is season 1. Yeah. So I was still 11 years old. And I go down, and I didn't know why we were going to California. My dad said he had like some business stuff he had to do or something. And we go to this like plot, Hollywood and Highland, and they're having like this karaoke contest. Whoever can sing will get tickets to the finale. And so we go there, and like at the end of it, some of the contestants from the season of American Idol come out. Like there's a girl named Ryan Starr, and the person who got 3rd place, Nikki McKibben. And my aunt was with us. She lives in California. And so she goes up to Nikki McKibben, like they're just signing stuff for people. And she's like, hey, my nephew is friends with AJ. Could you say hi to him could you say hi to him for David Archuleta? They're on the Jenny Jones show together. And Nikki just like goes like, she crouches down and goes like this to my aunt. And she just says, hey, you know what? We don't tell a lot of people this, but we're just staying in the hotel right next door, the Renaissance Hotel. And we'll be there tomorrow at this time is our call time. And if you come at this time, AJ will be there and with everyone else. So you can come and say hi then. And so I don't know why she did that, but I feel like it was pretty, I don't know, I felt like it was a divine intervention kind of a thing.
Your destiny.
Yeah, so we go there the next morning, and AJ's outside, and my aunt goes up to, I think my dad, maybe it was my dad, and he goes up to him and he's like, hey, do you remember David from the Jenny Jones show? And AJ just like totally got excited. He was like, what, no way, are you serious? He goes up straight up to me, gives me a hug, and he just says, come here, I want you to meet Tamara.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we go, and they just have, and he's like, sing for her. I'm like, okay. I was like, I was an 11-year-old who didn't talk to anybody. I was super antisocial. I sat alone during lunchtime. During recess, I sat by myself at the end of the field. Like, I was so not social.
Yeah, introvert.
Yeah, super and shy too. So this was just like so bizarre for me, being in front of all these people, getting all this attention. But I was just, I just sang the song and like all the other contestants were there too. So I was just like, I've been watching these people every week. Now I'm singing for them, and I'm 11 years old.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then when another contestant would come out from their hotel room, then they would have me sing for that person. So they're like, hey, you have to hear this kid sing. So I was like, okay. And then Kelly Clarkson and Justin Guarini, the two finalists, come down, and everyone's like, you guys, you have to hear this kid sing. So then I sing for them, and I sing for Kelly and for Justin. And my dad got it on video too. He was taping it on his camcorder.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so I sing for them, and Kelly was just like, go, go, go. And she's like hitting me with her hoodie and stuff. So it was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
And that was just, and after that happened, there were all these fans and other people in the lobby that were there because it was like a big show, even that first season.
Yeah.
And so as I was there going to the finale and stuff, there were like label reps and like fans and other people they just kept, it was like a domino effect. They kept just saying, you were the kid who was singing in the hotel lobby. Can you sing for my friends? Like, it just became a thing that people just would say, could you sing on the spot for me right now? So I just would. It's the same song, and I'm telling you, I'm not going. And it just kept going. And I sang for these people in one part of the hotel. I don't know, they're just random people. And all of a sudden, as I was singing, they were just like, turn around, turn around, turn around. And so I turned around, but I hadn't finished my song yet, so I just kept singing. It was Paula Abdul, and she was there with all these cameras and all these posse, and I just kept singing, you're gonna love me. And she just comes up and gives me a hug, and she's like, I'm gonna love you. And it's just weird.
You got discovered. That is awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And so from there, I just made, I don't know, my dad made friends. I didn't because I didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah. He was, acting manager probably, and
Yeah.
doing the deals and shaking hands, kissing babies, doing all that stuff.
Well, he was just making friends with people. So one of the people he made friends with she was a backup singer for Christina Aguilera, and she was auditioning for Star Search. And she said, hey, her name's Diane Gordon, and she's awesome. And she said, hey, I'm going to audition for Star Search. You should come audition with me. I was like, I don't want to audition for something. I don't like being on camera. But when I was 12 years old, I went on Star Search. And I was in the kids division for that. And I won the kids division. And I was just kind of, I don't know, it was just kind of, I wasn't really interested in competitions. I wasn't interested in winning. I wasn't interested in being on camera. To be honest, I wasn't really even interested in singing for people. I just did it just because it kept happening. But at the same time, I loved to sing.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't like everything going on on the outside, I loved how I felt just inside. I felt like I was connecting to something.
This is such an important message, and I want to underscore it because I think this is a common question I get all the time. And I wonder about myself. I think I'm still a work in progress, right? Still trying to figure it out. But the question is, like, how do you know? And you sort of really talked about it very specifically, which I think is perfect. But like, how do you find your passion? How do you know what you love to do? And what I'm hearing you saying is there's signals from the very beginning, from that first Les Mis VHS tape experience where you made your own little set and you were, maybe playing the part in your mind or you were going for it. Those little signals, those experiences were lighting you up, and you were feeling it inside, right? It's that idea. Sir Ken Robinson talks about it in his book called The Element. Like a fish to the water, bird to the air. You're in your element when you're doing what you love and you're great at what you do, and you're starting to get these signals early. And the other thing that I'm hearing is this message of we make our own luck, right? That luck is really, what's the saying? It's when opportunity meets preparation. And you'd been doing the work, right, since you were 6 or whatever, and you were working those 5, long years, even though you were young. And here you had this opportunity on this bigger stage. You're singing in front of people who could notice you, and it happened. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think what was also really important was I don't think I would have been able to do it with my personality alone. My dad actually has a reputation, like on American Idol even, they made like a big deal about him being a stage dad and how, because he's intense. So he clashed with a lot of people on my season of American Idol. But even though people didn't like how intense and passionate he was passionate about me. To be honest, I wasn't passionate about myself. And I didn't think I was talented enough to do music. But the fact that he was willing to say, David, go for it. Go ahead and sing for these people. Because I was just like, sometimes I'd be like, I feel awkward doing that. I don't feel comfortable. I think it was important to have someone who could balance my shyness to help me get where I needed to. And I think it is important to take, sometimes so many things happen in our lives that we don't plan. Sometimes we're like, this is gonna happen. Like I thought, I'm gonna finish school and then I'm gonna go to high school and then college, what yada yada, and then figure out what my career is gonna be. I didn't know I was gonna be having my own business at age 17, you know, and I didn't know how to prepare for that. I wasn't planning on that. But I think sometimes you have to be willing to jump and just go for something. Like, I don't know, 11 years old singing I didn't know I was gonna be, but I went ahead and sang for them. And then Jenny Jones show, I didn't know, I had seen Jenny Jones show just flipping through the channels before, but I didn't think I would be on it. I think it's just important to say, well, I never thought I would go for something like that, but why not? Hey, I didn't think I'd be singing in the shower or in at least the bathroom with somebody this morning, but sometimes you just go for things, even if it's like, well, never done that before, but why not? Why not try it? And I think you have to do that, even if it's like, okay, well, now I know I probably won't do that again, but you don't know who you'll meet.
Yes.
It's so important, just as important as finding a passion of what you do is who you meet.
Yes.
Who could present you to an opportunity, who can introduce you to someone else.
Yes.
That's just as important in success and succeeding moving forward as finding something you're passionate about.
David, you're saying so many things that are just hitting so many chords with me. I think you're exactly right. I want to go back to, your dad, your parents, your influence. I think, I wasn't there, so I don't know what level of intensity your dad was at that time, but I'm a parent now. And so, parents, sometimes we need to nudge our kids to convince them that they have the talent that we see in them, right? And being 11 or 15 or even 18, 20, whatever, sometimes, whether it's self-doubt or you don't feel like you're developed yet, someone who's older with more contextual experience or wisdom, we call it wisdom, can see, beyond that. And so I think it's really super smart that you took his advice. And I'll bet there's a lot of parents out there who are, hoping their daughter is the starting forward on the soccer team or point guard or quarterback. Look at Tiger Woods and his very strict dads. There's just, it's when a parent can become super involved with helping develop their kids, and it really is all about the kid wins. And the other message I heard you say was, it's this risk-reward analysis that I think is really important to do. I've heard it said before that people say, well, failure is not an option. And a mentor of mine told me a long time ago, that's baloney. Like, failure has to be an option. You can't have success without it. If you don't have failure, you're either hiding or you're a liar. So which one is it, right? And so you have to do this trial and error thing to figure stuff out. And I think you're really wise in, even in that youthful time when you do this risk-reward analysis, which is, we're really glad that the airline pilot doesn't take chances, right? Because if she does, we might take a nosedive. We don't get a second chance at this.
Right.
But like if you're singing in front of, your idols in a hotel, and then Paula Abdul happens to be behind you, you're not going to die if you slaughter the song, right? So it's about weighing the risk over the reward. And if you can come back and play another day, even if you fail, that's certainly a risk worth taking, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's interesting that you pointed out there are certain places you don't want to take risks, like with the if you're flying a plane, unless something unexpected happens, I guess. But
well, yeah, you don't want to deliberately, let's go for it. Well, there's a lot at stake here if we go for it.
Yeah,
that's different than reacting, I think.
Yeah. I do feel like, as far as the parent thing as well, I feel like it's important to have a balance, because there are times where definitely, for example, I don't talk to my dad anymore because things got too intense. I talk to him every now and then, but there are actually a few years where I didn't talk to him at all. And it was because things got so, my dad's passionate, but there was a point where he got too passionate about everything that was going on. He loves taking risks. He loves chance. He loves he loved seeing all that was going on, and I feel like there's definitely a reason, we have our families, and I needed to have that kind of personality in my dad at the time, because I was so shy. Like I said, I didn't socialize with people in my own school, and I think a lot of times I was a really down kid. I didn't think anything was going to happen with myself. But my dad he would always say, "David, do you not realize how good you are at what you are doing?" And I was just like, "You're weird. Like, of course you would say that. You're my dad." But at a certain point, he was kind of like, "No one's as good as you are, and everyone has to understand how talented you are." And I feel like it got a little weird.
Yeah.
And
good point.
And I think it got to a point where he was just kind of like, no one understands you the way I do. Like, I need to help you, and I need to be there. And so it got to the point where just like, "Okay, Dad, maybe my life isn't as focused on this as you are. Like, I love music, but that's not what I am. That's not what defines me. I mean, it's a big part of me, but there's a reason why I like singing. It isn't to sing all the time, and that's not what I want to identify myself as my one purpose. Like, I don't know. It was a little difficult trying to find the balance, and I never did. So I just had to disconnect myself from him for a while. And American Idol was an amazing experience to be myself. Like, when I was 16, I went and auditioned, and I didn't, at that point, I didn't think. I told you about Star Search. Like, I went and did all this. I was like, oh, well, it seems like people are, I guess I really could do something with music. I was constantly, I wasn't just constantly battling, like maybe arguing with my dad. One of the biggest reasons I argued with my dad is because I didn't believe him. I didn't believe that I was actually good enough to make a career out of this. And I feel like I had a lot of, up to this point, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of lack of confidence, a lot of just this constant nagging voice saying, you can't do this. You're not good enough. You could never do this. Maybe you were lucky enough to get this far, but that was just luck. You don't have the skills to be successful. You don't have the skills to keep moving forward. You don't know how to make good decisions, and just all of that.
It's so hard.
Yeah, so I think I needed someone as stubborn as my dad to say, yes, you can, and you're gonna do it. Because most of our arguments is like, Dad, I'm not good enough. These other people are better than me. They want it more than I do. I don't want it. What's the point? Do
you think that was a function of your age? I mean, you're still a teenager, still figuring stuff out, and even backing it up to like age 11 when you sort of, got the first launch point. I mean, all of that must have been super overwhelming. If you were already a shy kid to begin with, and then, basically your dad kicks you out of the nest and you have to fly or hit the ground hard. Yeah. And maybe you did a little bit of both, but do you think it was a function of that, just that time in your life where your mind was still developing and you were, immature, you didn't have much wisdom, life experience? Or is it an ongoing struggle?
Yeah, I think it's just something I've always dealt with. Yeah. It's never gone away, but I've learned, now I have experience, something I didn't have when I was 11 or 12, where I can say, wow, these thoughts come, and I used to just believe them. I'm just like, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm not gonna amount to anything. Like, I still get those thoughts now. I'm 28 now, and I still get those thoughts. Just like a few days ago, I was like, I have to get all this out of my head. It's like constant, just good for nothing, worthless. And I'm like, this reminds, I was thinking, I'm like, I felt like this always, but yet I've managed to get this far. So I was like, what's the difference from when I was 11 or 12 and now, is that I know that these voices, they're not, even though they feel like they're so real and so true, it's not the case always. Because even when I thought I was good for nothing and wasn't going to be able to do anything, I did. Like, American Idol was hard. And to have millions of people watching every week, to get to second place into the finale, it was hard. I think it was hard for that. It's not easy to be on a reality TV show, and to have family issues going on, and then you still have to be happy and still be on and saying, I'm so glad I'm here, when it's like all this stuff, all these issues are going on at home, and I'm dealing with all this stuff.
Tears.
Yeah, and it is an amazing experience, and you are grateful for it, but at the same time, it's just like, how do you cope with millions of people's attention? It's just something you don't expect. You assume is supposed to be a great thing, but it's something you have no idea how to handle, and so it's an interesting place to be. But
well, I'm so glad that you shared that, actually. And we were talking off camera about Hayley Williams from Paramore, and she kind of talked about the same thing. We called it imposter syndrome. When you think you're an imposter, and at some point someone's going to figure it out, and then you're not going to get to do what you want to do anymore. She talked about that, and I hear threads of that in what you're telling me. And I can tell you from personal experience too, whether it's, I feel like I'm in the struggle right now. Like, every single day sometimes is a street fight with myself, right? I'm just battling negative thoughts, or I manufacture things, anxiety that doesn't exist, start worrying about something that may never happen. That's a complete waste of energy, I know, but yet here I am again. It's Thursday morning. It's like, I'm so glad that you shared that, because I think mental health and the ability to talk about it in a very healthy, open way is so important, because we're not alone, are we? I think there's a lot of other people who are having similar challenges.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to get frustrated with yourself, because usually when people say like mental health, or if it's anxiety or depression, I think a lot of times people look at it as something that you should be able to change, or you should be able to think your way out of it. And I think I've gotten stuck in that way of thinking as well. It's like, "Oh, I shouldn't be thinking this way. This is so ridiculous. This is so dumb. David, you should be better than this." And I think it's something that I guess now also, it's something I've had all my life. So it's also something that it's like, sometimes you just have to learn how to deal and put up with something.
Yeah, you just learn to dance with it.
Yeah, dance with it. I feel like a lot of my music, a lot of my passion for music has come from this struggle with whatever I'm feeling and thinking inside. A lot of music brings me relief to a lot of what I have to deal with inside. And I don't think I would love music so much if it didn't give me so much of the relief from all that negativity and whatever it is that I have to fight with.
Let me ask you this. What advice, and I'm really glad that you said that, because music is healing for me too. I'm not a musician. I sing in the shower, but it is healing to me too, whether I'm listening to it or if I'm just, singing in my car, singing in my shower. I can't quite put my finger on why it's so healing, but it is. What advice would you give to other people? Because my wife and I have this standing joke. It's called the funny face. And the funny face is, if you're like having a hard day or you're going through something bad, one of us, ironically now, because we understand each other, will say, "Oh, come on, just put a smile on your face. Just be happy," right? And I wish it were that easy. Like when I'm feeling really down or if I'm having a hard day, I wish it were that easy just to flip the switch and just, "Oh, you're right, I should just be happy." But it's not that way. And so what advice would you give to other people who may not understand what depression feels like or anxiety feels like? What should they say to you when you're having a tough time? Snap out of it is not one of them.
I don't know. I think to be honest, I feel like it's different for each person, because
Well, let's talk about you then, just for you.
I think sometimes it just depends on the day, because sometimes I don't want to be told anything. I don't want to, I'm just like so moody, I don't want to even talk about it.
Sure.
Other times I'm just like, I think I do want to pick me up, like, come on, let's go. Because it distracts me. Sometimes I soak so much into it, I'm like, woe is me, I'm like feeling so much of this, and it's so easy to just let it just spiral. Mm-hmm. And if someone, maybe not mention it, but just be like, "Hey, let's go for a run. Hey, let's go to the rock wall and let's do some rock climbing," or "Hey, let's go swimming," or just I saw this movie, just something that helps.
Yeah.
Just
nothing judgmental, nothing preachy, just kind of being there for you.
Yeah.
And maybe an activity.
Yeah, so that's something I think is good. Other times it's like I just need to vent, because I don't know why I feel this way, and I think I'm judging myself for the way I'm feeling too. So it's like I don't want to talk about what I'm feeling, because I shouldn't be feeling this way, and I'm judging myself for it. Yeah. But sometimes it's just like I need to just vent and be like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I feel down. I can't get out of bed. I know I have a lot of things to get done today. Like just a few days ago, I'm like, I know I have to get up for an interview. I just don't want to do it. Maybe I should just cancel it. I know I'm supposed to go to the studio and record. I think I'm just going to not show up. I just don't feel like doing anything at all. And it's just like, in those moments, I think I wait. It's like not until last minute where I'm just like, okay, David, you could, from experience, that you don't want to do this. I just have to, it's like I have to repeat to myself like maybe 15 times, 20 times, you can get up. Just go, see if you're, and I finally listen to myself. I'm like, okay. And I don't know how to describe it. It's almost like you have a body ache, like you have the flu or something. Yeah. Like you just feel so drained and loss of energy, but it's not all over your body. It's like, for me, it's like concentrated in my stomach or something. It's just like one part of my body. It's not like this pain all over. But it's enough to keep you feeling like I don't feel like doing anything at all. I just feel like I need to just sleep and ignore everything. But I have to fight it anyway. I'm just like, okay, get up. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, I got out of bed. I'm so proud of myself. Good, go David, go you. Because there's some days I just don't. There have been times where I just don't get up. And maybe it is depression. I've never been diagnosed with anything, but I know all of my other siblings have been, so maybe I'm just in denial right now. But it's like, I just get so annoyed by it. I'm like, I don't want to think that I have something that is crippling me, but maybe I am totally in denial right now. But some of my siblings have taken some medication. One of my sisters, though, she's like, I took it. It made me feel so off. But I don't know. She doesn't take medication right now, and she's doing really well. Yeah. And I think I don't want to think that I have to take medication to be happy. And I know it is, like, one of my other sisters, she's like, it made such a huge difference for me. She's like, I feel like I'm a different person now. I'm able to get up, because she had the same problem. She wasn't able to get out of bed. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, why can't we get out of bed? Like, we know one day we're like up every day, and all of a sudden the week hits and it's like I don't even know what to say. Like, I just can't get up. Yeah. And I'm not going to. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm just not going to. And you feel so like you're in a capsule, like you're like a mummy, like you can't move. And so it's like, I don't know why that happens, but then then like maybe a couple weeks go by and then I'm like, okay, it's gone. Oh, that's weird.
Well, again, I'm really glad that you're sharing this because, I think all of us can relate. And you're right, we are all different. I've had dark times, some darker than others, ups and downs. This journey that I'm on as an entrepreneur, running this production company, doing this show, it's like being on a roller coaster. And I think probably the hardest thing, because I've gotten somewhat used to it, I've learned to dance with it, is taking my family on this roller coaster ride. And they don't always love, when it's a really tough time. But I think it's important that we talk about these issues. And I know you had a single that came out a couple months ago, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about themes because you've been dancing around the word paralyzed.
Yeah.
And that happens to be the title of the song, right?
Yeah.
Was that sort of the inspiration for that?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the songs I've written are about this, just my mood. And I get annoyed sometimes because I was thinking about it just the other day. I'm like, I'm normally like a happy person. Like, people usually know me for smiling a lot or being pretty positive or being spiritual, religious, whatever. And a lot of my songs are about how frustrated I am. I feel paralyzed and I can't move, and I know I should. And that's not just physically. I mean, I was talking about the physical aspect and mental, but it's more of a thought process. Like, I want to do well in life. I want to succeed. I want to make a difference. I want to look back on my work and say, like, I've worked hard. And even now, I want to be hopeful for my future. I want to be hopeful for right now that I'm going to keep going. And they're just those, but a lot of times these thoughts come, like an opportunity comes. I'm like, I should talk to that person, or maybe I can collaborate with this person and this artist, or I should upload this video. And a lot of times I say no. I tell myself no. And then the opportunity goes. And I'm just like, why did I do that? What could have happened if I took that? And so then I say, next time I'm not going to miss that. I'm going to go for it, and then I don't again.
Yes. Regret is the worst, right?
Oh, yeah, I hate it. But then I'm like, so why do I allow myself to have so many regrets? I like watching these people who are like, no regrets. Yeah, I just go for it. And even if I fail, and I didn't try. And I'm like, why did I play it safe? Why did I not go for something? Because now I'll never know. Or I could have. Like, what would have happened if I just went for it? Even if the other person was interested, saying like, hey, I want to work with you. I'm like, oh, cool. And I don't do anything about it. And so paralyzed is about saying, I should have gone for it, or like I wait and I think when I really know what I need to do, and I want to, but there's something in me. It's like I'm paralyzed. It's like I can't move, and I have no idea why I can't. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong? And it's like I've allowed those negative thoughts to become the master, to be the one in charge. And I'm like, why? How did I allow myself to get this far, that those negative thoughts that are usually liars, and they are liars.
Yeah, let's be clear about that. It's always a lie, right?
Yeah.
Fear is a liar.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, what is that? Who sings? Zach? There's a guy I think his name's Zach Williams. He has a song called Fear is a Liar. But I listen anyway. And I get so frustrated. I'm like, why do I listen to you? And Paralyzed is kind of about that, where it's like, I've listened to you way too much and I'm paralyzed and this is frustrating, but this is a battle. And why is it a battle? It's because I'm fighting against you now. Like, I've had enough of you negative thoughts and holding me back, that I'm gonna fight you. And what's hard is it is a real fight, because you get worn out, because it gets really loud and they say, you can't do this. I've worn you out. I'm still here. Yeah. You've been fighting, but I'm still here. And it's just like so frustrating. But at the same time, Paralyzed is about saying, okay, I'm pretty worn out from this, but I'm still fighting. Like, I'm not giving up, and I'm moving. Like, I'm moving forward. And then the feeling comes, and I suddenly like it's like I get a jolt. It's like someone shocks me and I get paralyzed again. I can't move. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. There's like there's this move called Thunder Wave, and it paralyzes. And so every now and then, like, it makes you so that you can't move. It's like, oh, like I had my move ready and I was gonna knock you out and make you faint and everything, but it paralyzed you, and so you couldn't move that turn. But anyway, it feels like that, where it's like on my turn to fight. Like, I have my move ready and everything, and I just can't move. At least that turn. But I feel like the battle's not over, and so my goal is to say it happens, and there are going to be moves where I do get paralyzed, which sucks, but it's not going to be every turn. I'm going to keep making my move, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And I've made movement. Maybe it's not at the pace that I've wanted it to be, but at least I'm not staying put and laying in my bed all day like it tells me to all the time. So.